the Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against one another in the WNBA.
For 5 years, basketball fans have witnessed one of the sport's most legendary rivalries unfold: Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. Both were high school phenoms who took different paths, Clark choosing Iowa, Bueckers committing to UConn. Clark went on to dominate their college matchups, especially in the NCAA tournament. Critics like Geno Auriemma openly questioned whether Clark's game would translate to the WNBA. Last night, the two finally clashed as professionals when the Indiana Fever hosted the Dallas Wings. What followed wasn't just a game, it was history, with Clark achieving something only she has ever done twice before. If you're ready to hear which records fell, comment CC Record Breaker. Let's dive in. Picture this, two teenage basketball sensations making waves across America, destined to collide for years to come. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers first crossed paths in high school. Both were ranked as elite recruits, but their games couldn't have been more different. Clark brought explosive scoring, elite passing, and limitless three-point shooting. Bueckers showcased smooth efficiency, a polished mid-range game, and court vision that rivaled Clark's.
Hey Caitlin, you've known Paige since middle school, AAU. You guys were on the U19 World Cup team together. Is there anything that maybe stood out then about her, whether it be on or off the court, that maybe still reigns true today?
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it was me watching her in AAU. She's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She's just she just plays way older than she is. She's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels. And that's how she's always played. And that's obviously translated really.
Their college choices set them on very different journeys. Bueckers committed to the legendary UConn program under Geno Auriemma, a dynasty built on championships. Clark, meanwhile, chose Iowa, a program hungry to prove itself on the national stage. That decision set up epic NCAA tournament battles that defined their legacies. Clark's Iowa team shattered Bueckers' UConn dreams in March Madness. Clark delivered monster performances when the stakes were highest, including a 41-point masterpiece that sent the Huskies home early. Head-to-head, Clark outplayed Bueckers, winning 2 of their 3 meetings. Analysts and fans quickly took sides, turning their rivalry into something mythical that extended beyond college basketball.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Geno Auriemma had specific criticism.
Geno Auriemma never shied from criticism of Clark's game. He questioned her shot selection and doubted her ability to adapt to the WNBA compared to his own star, Bueckers. In his view, Bueckers' fundamentals would translate more seamlessly to the pros. Their contrasting styles, Clark's explosive scoring versus Bueckers' smooth efficiency, came to symbolize 2 philosophies of basketball greatness.
And Bueckers' smooth efficiency represented different philosophies of basketball.
And Diana said it best, this kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing, Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
When both players declared for the WNBA, fans wondered when they would finally collide as professionals. The stage was set. Clark entered with a 2-1 college edge, but faced new questions about her pro readiness. The hype was massive. ABC secured the national broadcast, knowing this matchup would draw viewers across the country. For Clark, it was even more critical. Her recent struggles with the Fever had placed her under intense scrutiny.
talking to our player development coach yesterday, and he was like, just sent me a few things of like even Steph going through a slump. I think he was like 27 for his last 70 or something like that. Like the best in the world go through it, and I think that's like where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked, so you know this isn't something that's going to last, and the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots, and I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that I make.
The Fever weren't exactly thriving going into this clash. Indiana had stumbled through embarrassing losses against beatable teams. Both the Los Angeles Sparks and Golden State Valkyries had handed them defeats that left fans puzzled. These weren't juggernauts. They were opponents the Fever should have handled with ease.
I feel like this stretch, you know, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road, and, you know, we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself, no matter who you're playing. We play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, you know, yes, All-Star's coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room is doing.
Behind the scenes, tension was boiling between Clark's up-tempo vision and head coach Stephanie White's slower, half-court style. Clark thrived on pushing the pace and creating transition opportunities, while White preferred controlled sets. That philosophical clash came to a head during a heated sideline exchange in a game against the Atlanta Dream. Cameras caught every word, showing just how sharp their disagreement had become.
There is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Lineup inconsistencies only deepened the problem. Clark was still regaining rhythm after injury, while Damiris Dantas returned from national team duties. The constant shuffling disrupted chemistry, leaving the Fever struggling to find stable rotations or offensive flow. Missed shots piled up, turnovers killed possessions, and Clark's signature fast break magic disappeared. She admitted, "I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game." Her shooting slump raised eyebrows, but she stayed confident. "I'm never going to stop shooting," she said, comparing herself to Steph Curry's occasional cold stretches. The Fever snapped their skid with a win over Atlanta, but the philosophical divide between Clark and White wasn't resolved, just postponed.
You know, it can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then like I look at the box and it's like, I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, I mean, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I can do.
The Dallas game became the
That set
ultimate
the stage
test.
for Dallas.
Would
Stephanie White finally unleash Clark's preferred style? Or would their clash of philosophies continue to hold the Fever back? The Bueckers showdown became the perfect storm, with Clark desperate to prove her way could succeed at the pro level. Then came the turning point. White made the bold decision to let Clark dictate tempo and run the offense on her terms. It wasn't a minor tweak, it was a complete shift, entrusting Clark to lead at her own pace.
White approach and trusted Clark to lead the team at the pace she wanted.
Lee Rue the other night had a season high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner, dishing to Hull, extra feed Clark, a deep 3, you bet! And he actually brought up stat from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown, Fever.
Early on, it wasn't obvious if the gamble would work. The first quarter was competitive as both teams felt each other out. Indiana looked solid but not spectacular, slowly finding rhythm. Clark was facilitating well, but the fireworks hadn't fully begun. The Wings kept pace until Clark started to take over. Guarded tightly by Eriko Gunbowl, she drained a sidestep three. Posting up JC Sheldon, she spun into a fadeaway jumper. Driving the lane, she dropped off a perfect feed to Aaliyah Boston for an easy finish. Moments later, Clark dished her 13th assist as Nalissa Smith pushed her scoring total to 18. The Fever weren't just competing anymore. They were surging, and Clark was at the heart of it all.
Here's Clark being hawked by Isaiah James. Clark sidestepping three is good. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, baiting away and dropping it in. Beautiful. Here's Clark off the screen, through the lane, feeds Howard. Another assist for Clark. That's 13 as Howard is up to 18 points.
Clark even mentioned a stat about Steph Curry's shooting slump, saying it gave her comfort. That confidence was visible right away. A perfect dime to Mitchell showed her rhythm. Caitlin Clark started aggressively, setting the pace for Indiana. Soon after, Kelsey Mitchell grabbed a long rebound and sprinted the floor for an easy finish. Their chemistry was obvious, pushing each other with non-stop energy. Then came a highlight assist from Aaliyah Boston, threading a beautiful pass to Mitchell for 2 more. The Fever's offense was flowing, and Clark was directing everything.
And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell. A tenacious start from Caitlin Clark. Here's Agumbawale off on a 3. Long rebound. Mitchell, you're not going to catch her. Kelsey Mitchell in for 2. They elevate each other because of how hard they compete. Nice look. Aaliyah Boston with a gorgeous dime to Kelsey Mitchell.
What made this game unforgettable was the collective performance. Indiana dropped a franchise record 64 first-half points, surpassing their 2016 mark of 63 against the Liberty. Even more impressive, it was the highest-scoring half by any WNBA team in 2025. The Fever also tied their record with 30 assists, and 13 came directly from Clark. She wasn't forcing shots, she was elevating everyone around her. Ball movement was crisp, every possession had purpose. Off the bench, Sophie Cunningham added a spark, scoring 13 and reaching 1,500 career points. Her shooting and energy gave Indiana another weapon Dallas couldn't defend.
Mitchell bounces, Boston, one more time. This time Mitchell delivering, and Boston up to 13 points. Indiana shooting 66%.
The second quarter was a masterpiece. Indiana put up 36 points, tying for the third most in a single period in franchise history. They shot an unbelievable 76.2% from the field and ripped off a 33-9 run that lasted nearly 8 minutes. Dallas looked stunned, outpaced, and helpless. The Wings couldn't match Indiana's speed or execution. This was Clark's vision for transition basketball on full display, and it worked to perfection. White had finally embraced her system, and the results were historic.
Cunningham the rebound. Cunningham swiftly up the floor, finds Howard for 2. Sophie Cunningham making a huge impact off the bench, and Dallas will take a timeout.
In this lineup, Natasha Howard is the quickest post player on the...
But the defining moment wasn't just the scoreboard, it was history in motion. While running the offense, Clark quietly built a stat line few had ever seen. She had 14 points, showing efficiency. She dished 13 assists, proving her teammates thrived with her. Then came the defensive plays. Clark started anticipating every Dallas pass, jumping lanes, and disrupting rhythm. She wasn't just running the offense, she was controlling both ends of the floor.
Good dub. 2 in a row. 2 more to All-Star. Let's go.
W. Oh, Fever Dubs, you already know what's coming. Bow, bow, bow! On to the next. Hell yeah! Can you use that one? Let's go, baby. Give your energy to Kristen. W. Now we gotta go get another one.
The breakthrough came with her 5th steal, sealing a historic line: 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals. That made Clark the only player in WNBA history to post that exact combination twice in her career. Beyond the box score, her defense was game-changing. A key sequence came when she blocked a shot, then immediately turned it into a fast break dime for Sophie Cunningham. Clark's anticipation dismantled Dallas' offense. Every trip down the court was tense when she was defending.
Is in bounds. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful mid-range fadeaway from Caitlin Clark.
Paige Bueckers and the Wings were completely shut down. The clearest evidence came from Eriko Gunbowl, who went 0-4-10 and scored only 2 points. Normally a star, she was neutralized by Clark's defense and Indiana's schemes. Dallas tried to rough up Clark, grabbing her off the ball and refusing to switch on screens. But the plan failed. Clark used their aggression to find open teammates and attack the rim. Every adjustment backfired. The final score, 102-83, was the perfect summary. Clark answered every critic and erased doubts about her WNBA readiness. This wasn't just a strong outing, it was a career-defining statement.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown Fever.
Sophie Cunningham runs the route and puts her hand up in the air, gives Caitlin Clark the target. Barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass. Catch, in stride, finish. Beautiful basketball.
The prophecy had come true. Clark had placed herself among the WNBA's elite, making history in a way no other player ever had. This blowout win over Bueckers and the Wings revealed the Fever's real potential once Clark was free to run the team her way. Records fell, milestones were reached, and for the first time, Indiana's chemistry looked complete. With the second half of 2025 ahead, the rivalry had only just entered its pro chapter. Fans now look toward upcoming road games against Connecticut and New York. If you're excited to watch Clark keep rewriting history, comment CC Record Breaker, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the story is only beginning.
I feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball, which is a fast-paced style of basketball. They played Fever basketball for, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the game. And we have obviously seen this style of basketball, the style of basketball that we all know and love from the Indiana Fever, but we have only really seen it in short spurts. There have been so many games and so many times throughout this season where it feels like the Fever system is a slow down basketball type of system. Their offense wasn't running smoothly, but in this game, they were playing quick. They were moving the ball around. They had so many points off of the fast break.